Hello and welcome back to the Smash Archive, the series where we look at every game franchise represented in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Continuing our journey through all the minor series in Smash, let's take a look at all the series from Nintendo's best-selling dedicated handheld with the Nintendo DS. Now, to be a bit more specific, we'll be looking at games that released, or series that started, as either a physical title for the DS, or as a downloadable title for the DSi and DSi XL, dubbed DSiWare, along with one application that came pre-installed on all DS systems. With that out of the way, let's get started. PictoChat is a messaging application that came pre-installed on all DSs, which allowed users to enter one of 4 chat rooms, wirelessly connect to other DS users in the same chat room, and then either send messages or drawings to one another. Outside of basically being the only thing to do on the original DS and DS Lite, other than playing games, there's really not that much to say about PictoChat, which is why there's not much from here. To begin, we have the stage PictoChat 2. The fight taking place on top of the notification that a fighter has entered chat room A, with the background being the bottom screen where users would draw pictures, with 26 possible images showing up that behave differently. The images that can show up include a seesaw which can be pushed down by the weight of fighters and items, paper aeroplanes that the fighters can ride on, cars which drive across the stage which can run over and carry fighters, clouds which act as floating platforms, poles on the side of the stage which fall when standing on them, a set of escalators which take fighters upward, a sunset with fighters being able to stand on the sun, the horizon, and a pair of birds, a recreation of 25 meters from Donkey Kong, with both DK and the barrels he throws dealing damage, a face that blows air which pushes fighters upwards, a recreation of the end of World 1-2 from Super Mario Bros., with some floating blocks on the main platform and vertically moving floating platforms on both sides, jumping Wario noses that fighters can ride on, dolphins that jump from the main platform to off-screen, a piece of paper that's written on with a feather pen, with the writing serving as additional platforms, a tornado that launches fighters upward, some sparks that orbit the main and 2 additional platforms which damage fighters, shooting stars that can damage fighters, 2 people staring at each other, which can create either a damaging spark or a healing heart, an infinity symbol fighters can stand on, a giant clock with fighters being able to stand on the clock's hands, a road leading towards mountains with fighters being able to stand on the lines that make the road's sides, a group of Pac-Men which randomly move around the stage dealing contact damage, a series of warp pipes fighters can travel through by standing on them for long enough, a faucet that pours water which pushes fighters, a policeman who launches fighters if they catch them with their flashlight, a moon which, when it disappears, hides the stage in darkness, and a pair of boots which can bury or meteor smash fighters by stepping on them. In addition, there's the music track PictoChat, an original song from Brawl which incorporates various sound effects from PictoChat, along with the DS and Wii's main menus. Daigasso Band Brothers is a Japan-exclusive rhythm game which has you play through various songs, with the player being able to play through the song with one of 8 instruments. The songs being a mix of classical music, licensed anime and popular songs, as well as music from other Nintendo games. The game received 2 sequels, with Daigasso Band Brothers DX, which allowed the player to download up to an extra 100 songs over a Wi-Fi connection, with it also being the only entry to release outside Japan, coming out in Europe under the new name Jam with the Band, along with Daigasso Band Brothers P for the 3DS, which like the first game was Japan exclusive, with it adding the ability to use the 3DS's microphone to create your own Vocaloid, though the game's servers have since been shut down, with it having been delisted and made effectively unplayable since 2020. As this is a fairly simple rhythm game series where most of the soundtrack is licensed music, there's only a little bit from this series. First, we have the music track Performance, a song used in Jam with the Band's trial mode. Next is a Mii hat based on Barbara the Bat, the series mascot who's the manager of a music shop called Great Barbara Music, with her acting as the player's guide throughout the games. In addition, there's spirit number 1211, Barbara the Bat, a 3-slot ace primary grab spirit. In addition to this series, she also appears as the owner of a magic shop in another DS game called Master of Illusion, which otherwise has no connection to Daigasso Band Brothers. The spirit artwork is from Jam with the Band. Trace Memory, or Another Code 2 Memories in Europe, is a point-and-click adventure game made by the company Sing, whose only previous output was a PS2 point-and-click horror game called Glass Rose. The game sees you play as a 13-year-old girl named Ashley Robbins, who has to solve various puzzles in order to explore Blood Edward Island and hopefully find her missing father. The game received a positive to mixed reception, mainly praising its presentation and story, whilst criticizing the short length and lack of replay value. The game would also receive a sequel for the Wii, which skipped a US release titled Another Code R, A Journey into Lost Memories, which similarly also got a mixed reception, though it's looked back on more fondly, being considered one of the Wii's more underrated titles. Because of the initial mixed reception of both entries, there's not much from this series. The only thing taken is spirit number 1212, Ashley Robbins, a 2-slot advanced support spirit with the effect Fog Immunity. The series' main protagonist, who in the first game ends up getting invited to the island after receiving a message from her dad via a device he made called the DAS just 2 days before her 14th birthday. The spirit art is from Another Code R, where she ends up going to Lake Juliet to find out what happened to her mother when she was working in the area 13 years prior. Electroplankton is an experimental music game made by Indie Zero, who are mainly known for their work on the Theat Rhythm series and Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory, with the project being led by Japanese interactive media and installation artist Toshio Awai. The game consists of 10 smaller mini-games which revolve around using the DS's touchscreen and microphone to interact with Plankton in order to create music. Electroplankton did fairly well review-wise, the only major complaint being that there was no way to record the music you created, with all the minigames later seeing standalone releases as DSiWare titles. Despite being a fairly niche title, there's a good amount of stuff taken from Electroplankton. To start, we have the stage Hanenbo, This being the second minigame, which sees you move the leaves of plants in order to create music by having the hanenbos bounce off of the leaves. The stage layout having one tree coming out the bottom, one from the top, along with the one leaf by itself which shoots the hanenbos, which like the original game will make notes by landing on the leaves. By attacking the leaves, they will change angle and progressively shift from green to red, matching how Electroplankton has you move the leaves to change the hanenbo's trajectory, along with them shifting in colour the more frequently they land on the leaves, with both the game and stage having a flower appear at the top of the stem if all the leaves are red, along with the leaves eventually straightening themselves out and changing back to green when left alone for a while. Then we have two music tracks comprised of various sound effects from the game, one being a direct port of the ambient sounds that appear in the background, and a new remix which is effectively an original song made up of sounds from some of the minigames. Finally, there's spirit number 1213, Hanenbo, a one-slot advanced support spirit with the effect Jump Up, these being one of the planktons that appear in the Hanenbo minigame. Nintendogs is a real-time pet raising simulator where you can take care of various dogs, being able to pet them, play with them using various toys, take them on walks, teach them tricks, and participate in competitions. Originally, there was supposed to be 15 versions of the game, with one for each dog breed you can adopt, though this was later condensed down to 3 versions, with 2 more releasing at a later date. The game received a lot of critical praise, and across every version managed to sell 23.96 million copies, making it the second best-selling DS game of all time, the only game beating it being New Super Mario Bros. The game would receive a sequel, which was a launch title for the 3DS, named Nintendogs Cats, which was more or less the same thing as the original DS game, but with the option of also being able to take care of cats, and was also released as 3 versions. Though despite still getting good reviews, it only sold around a fifth of what the original Nintendogs did at 4.69 million copies, in turn making it the 14th best-selling 3DS game. As this is arguably the most famous series to come from the DS, we have a lot of content from Nintendogs. To begin, we have the stage living room, this being the room where you can play with your pets, the room specifically being modelled after the country home from Nintendogs Cats. The main stage hazard is that during the fight, various objects will fall from above to form additional platforms, these mainly being toy blocks along with other random objects that can be found around the house, some of which appear in the Nintendogs games as items. In addition to a tube TV being visible in the background, various dogs can appear to run around, the specific breeds being a Beagle, a Toy Poodle, a Jack Russell, a Golden Retriever, or a Shiba Inu, with it also being possible for a Calico Cat to appear as well. Then we have 3 music tracks with 3 versions of the bath time theme from Nintendogs, which all open with part of the Walking the Dog theme from Nintendogs Cats. With a Smash 4 remix which gets both a regular and vocal version, as well as a new remix. Next is the assist trophy, Nintendog, this just being one of the dogs from the games. When summoned, it will come up to the screen in order to block the player's point of view, acting in a similar way to when the dogs run up to interact with the player. To end off, there's 3 spirits, with all of the spirit art coming from Nintendogs plus Cats. Number 1254, Toy Poodle, a 1-slot advanced support spirit with the effect stats up after eating, this being the breed of dog used for the Nintendog Assist trophy. Number 1255, French Bulldog, a 1-slot advanced support spirit with the effect undamaged attack up. This was the breed the Nintendog Assist trophy was in Smash 4. And number 1256, Labrador Retriever, a 1-slot advanced support spirit with the effect physical attack up. Like the last 2 spirits, this was the breed of dog used for the Nintendog's first appearance as an assist trophy in Brawl. Based on the studies by neuroscientist Ryuta Kawashima, Brain Age, Train Your Brain in Minutes a Day, or Dr. Kawashima's Brain Training, How Old Is Your Brain in Power Regions, is an edutainment game which has you play various puzzles, ranging from Stroop tests to math problems, which are designed to help keep your brain active every day. The game did really well, mainly by being able to appeal to older audiences who typically don't play video games, managing to sell 19.01 million copies, making it the 4th best-selling DS game, only ranking behind Mario Kart DS, as well as the previously mentioned Nintendogs and New Super Mario Bros. The game would quickly get a sequel, with Brain Age 2, More Training in Minutes a Day, or More Brain Training with Dr. Kawashima, which released just over half a year after the first game, and managed to become the 7th best-selling DS game at 14.88 million copies. Then, certain puzzles would receive standalone DSiWare releases under the name Brain Age Express, or a little bit of Dr. Kawashima's Brain Training. Following that was the series appearance on 3DS with Brain Age Concentration Training, or Dr. Kawashima's devilish brain training Can You Stay Focused, which had games focused on building a person's concentration and working memory. Then, after a small hiatus, the series returned on Switch with Dr. Kawashima's Brain Training for Nintendo Switch, though this entry didn't release in the US. Since Brain Age is one of Nintendo's more popular series with casual audiences, as well as being an icon of the DS era, there's a good amount of content from Brain Age. First, we have 2 music tracks. First being a medley of tracks from the first 2 Brain Age games, with Brain Age 1's title screen music, Brain Age 1's main menu music, and Brain Age 2's title screen music. As well as the main menu music from Brain Age 2. After that is the assist trophy, Dr. Kawashima. the in-game representation of Ryuta Kawashima, who acts as your guide throughout the series. When summoned, he causes circles with numbers on them to start flying around the screen, with fighters being able to change the direction they move in by attacking them. If two numbers collide, they'll be added together, with them exploding if the total is equal to 10 or higher, with the explosion being larger and dealing more damage if they make 10 exactly. Finally, there's two spirits. Number 1214, Dr. Kawashima, a 2-slot advanced primary neutral spirit which can be enhanced at level 99. Due to Dr. Kawashima being an in-game representation of the real-life Ryuta Kawashima, he's technically the only real person to appear in Smash Ultimate. And number 1215, Dr. Kawashima Concentration Training, a 2-slot legend primary neutral spirit with the effect Unflinching Charged Smashes. This being Dr. Kawashima's more devil-like form from Brain Age Concentration Training during the Devilish Training games. Big Brain Academy is an edutainment puzzle game which has you play various mini-games in order to better develop certain brain skills. The games revolve around ways to test your logic, reasoning, math, visual, and memory skills, with the game visualizing your performance by how big your brain is. The game received positive reviews and managed to become the DS's 14th best-selling game at 6.15 million copies sold, with it often being compared to the previously discussed Brain Age, due to their similar genre and both series debuting on the DS in 2005. Brain Age would receive 2 sequels which would put an emphasis on a competitive multiplayer mode, with Big Brain Academy Wii Degree, or Big Brain Academy for Wii and Power Regions, as well as Big Brain Academy Brain vs. Brain for the Switch. Given that Big Brain Academy is effectively just a different flavor of Brain Age, there's not much from this series. To begin, we have a Brawl remix of Big Brain Academy's title screen music. In addition, there's spirit number 1216, Dr. Loeb, a 1-slot advanced support spirit which lets you start the battle with a Mr. Saturn, the headmaster who acts as the player's guide throughout the series, with him evaluating how good the player's brain is at certain tasks based on their performance in the various mini-games. Osu Tatakae Ouendan is a Japan-exclusive rhythm game made by Einis Corporation, who have since rebranded as Leona Interactive, with their most notable non-Nintendo work being the Lips series. The game has you play as a team of Ouendan, Japanese cheer squads, who help out people struggling with various problems by cheering them on to music. This being done by tapping various markers on the touchscreen in time to the music. In addition to a later sequel titled Moero Nekketsu Rhythm Damashii Osu Tatakae Ouendan 2, a spiritual sequel made for and released exclusively in Western regions was made titled Elite Beat Agents. The main change, other than a new soundtrack, being the main characters getting swapped out for a team of secret agents, with the game effectively serving as the international counterpart to Osu Tatakae Ouendan, which is why for the sake of this video, despite counting them as separate series, I'll cover them at the same time, as outside of the name and plot changes, the gameplay between both series are exactly the same. Since these all have a similar problem to Jam with a Band of being rhythm games where the majority of the music is licensed songs, there's not much from these games, with both series getting 2 spirits each. Number 1217, Ouendan, a 1-slot advanced support spirit with the effect critical health stats up. This being the Ouendan team you play as during the game, specifically on the game's normal difficulty, with Atsushi Saito, Itetsu Suzuki, and their leader Ryota Ipponji. Whilst Atsushi and Itetsu's artwork is from the original game, Ryuta's is taken from the sequel. Number 1218, Ouendan Cheerleaders, a 1-slot advanced support spirit which lets you start the battle with a super launch star, an all-female group who you play as on the game's expert difficulty, consisting of the members Aoi Kanda, Anna Lindhurst, and their leader Sayaka Amemaya. The spirit art comes from Ouendan 2. Number 1219, Elite Beat Agents, a 1-slot advanced support spirit with the effect critical health stats up. These are effectively Elite Beat Agents equivalent to the Ouendan team, with agents Derek, Morris, and Jay, who serves as the leader on the Cruise-In or medium difficulty. And number 1220, Elite Beat Divas, a 1-slot advanced support spirit which lets you start the battle with a super launch star. Along similar lines, these are Elite Beat Agents equivalent to the Ouendan Cheerleaders, being an all-female team you play as on the hardest difficulty, Hard Rock. The team consisting of agents Missy, Fox, and the leader Star. Project Hacker Kakusei is a point-and-click adventure game released exclusively in Japan, made by Red Entertainment, whose most notable work seems to be as a co-developer for the first 5 entries in the Sakura Wars series. The game having you play various hacking-related mini-games ranging from password cracking to program repairs in order to help combat various internet-based crimes. As this is a fairly obscure adventure game that only released in Japan, there's not much from this series. The only thing taken is spirit number 1221, Satoru Amatsubo, a 1-slot novice support spirit with the effect energy shot attack up. The game's main protagonist, who's a university student and talented hacker, that ends up joining the Internet Crime Fighting Unit, GIS, alongside his childhood friend Rina, the two working together to stop various cyber terrorists and criminals. Shaberu DS Oreo Navi is a digital cookbook for the DS, released exclusively in Japan and made by Indie Zero, the same people behind the previously mentioned Electroplankton. The game effectively just being a cookbook which can read the instructions to you, with it also being able to avoid getting mess on the system by flipping through the instructions via the DS microphone. The game would receive a few sequels which were more or less the same thing but with different recipes, though the only one to release across all regions was Sakai no Gohan Shaberu DS Oreo Navi, which was renamed to Personal Trainer Cooking in America and Cooking Guide Can't Decide What to Eat in PAL regions. As these games are all just digital cookbooks, there's really not that much to say about them, which is likely also why there's not much from this series. First, we have a Brawl remix of the title screen music, which also contains the Western recipe theme. Then there's spirit number 1235, Chef, a 2-slot advanced support spirit with the effect Mouthful of Curry. This being the character who guides you through the various recipes, with him also having a different voice between regions. Chōsōjū Mecha MG is a Japan-exclusive mecha game made by Sandlot, who are mostly known for their work on the Earth Defense Force series. The game sees you control mechs called Marionation Gears, or MGs for short, in order to stop your town being invaded by a rival MG team by completing various missions ranging from straightforward battles to winning races, with all the controls for the mechs being displayed on the touchscreen, with each MG having a different control layout. As this is another niche title that never released outside Japan, it's another title which doesn't get much. For starters, we have a brawl remix of the theme used for battles between Marionation Gears. After that is Spirit number 1222, Warrior Mech Gauss, a one-slot novice primary attack spirit. This being one of the Marionation Gears you can buy, which is equipped with the Magic Sword Farsis and the Vortex Ultra Weapon, in addition to being able to transform into a car, with it arguably being the most iconic mech from the game. Hotel Dusk Room 215 is a point-and-click adventure game developed by Sing, the same studio responsible for the previously mentioned Another Code series, with both series taking place in the same universe. The game takes place in 1979 LA, with it seeing you play as an ex-detective who explores the mysterious Hotel Dusk and interrogates both the staff and other hotel guests to gain information, with the end goal of finding out the truth about what happened to his former partner on the force. Hotel Dusk received mostly positive reviews from critics and would later receive a sequel named Last Window: The Secret of Cape West, which unfortunately ended up being the last game Sing would make before going bankrupt, which in turn led to Last Window never seeing a US release. Just like its sister series Another Code, the only thing taken is one spirit, that being Spirit number 1223, Kyle Hyde, a 2-slot advanced primary shield spirit, a 33-year-old former NYPD detective who ended up becoming a door-to-door salesman to find out what happened to his presumed dead ex-partner Brian Bradley, Hyde's belief that he's still alive eventually leading him to Hotel Dusk. The spirit art is taken from Last Window, which sees Hyde, 1 year after the events of the first game, exploring a soon-to-be demolished apartment block named Cape West, with his investigation once again finding deep connections to his past. Kurikin Nano Island Story is a Japan-exclusive RPG made by MediaKite, whose only major credits seem to be doing PC ports of PS1-era Capcom games, such as the first 3 Resident Evils and the Mega Man Legends series. The game follows a student at the Nano Academy on Nano Island, who is tasked with exploring the island to capture different types of bacteria by using the stylus to absorb them off of objects all over the island, in order to raise and then use them in battle against other armies of bacteria, with the player directing them where to go by drawing circles on the bottom screen. As this is a fairly obscure RPG, to the point that there's barely any information about the game's developers, this is another game that only gets a spirit. Specifically, Spirit number 1224, Kurikin, a 1-slot novice primary shield spirit with the effect Water Attack Up, this being one of the many different types of bacteria you can find in the game. Sujin Sujin Taisen Number Battles is a puzzle strategy game made by the Mitchell Corporation, who prior to going defunct in 2012 were mostly known for the Pang or Buster Brothers series, with the game revolving around lining up tiles with numbers on them in order to form loops or routes that end with one-way paths, with each number either being one above, one below, or the same as the number next to it, with the winner being whoever can get the most amount of points from the combinations of paths and sequences. The game was originally released as a Japan exclusive, though it would see a worldwide release 2 years later as a DSiWare title, with it being renamed to Number Battles in America. Since we have a fairly unknown puzzle game which was a digital-only title outside Japan, this game continues the pattern of only getting one spirit. This time being spirit number 1225 Hishin, a 1-slot novice support spirit with the effect Aura Resist Up. An old master character who acts as your guide and teaches you the various ins and outs of how to play the game. Slide Adventure MAGKID is an action game released exclusively in Japan where you play as a magnet, with the game using an accessory that plugs into the DS's GBA slot, which uses the same technology as a computer mouse by having you move by sliding the DS on a flat surface, the end goal being to use your magnet powers to complete various tasks around a house. Since this is a Japan-only title that is effectively unplayable without an add-on which only works on the first two DS models, this is yet another game which only gets a spirit, namely spirit number 1226, MAGKID, a 1-slot novice support spirit with the effect Electric Resist Up. This being the magnet you play as, which can attach itself to and gain attributes from various metallic objects by charging into them, the art specifically being its neutral form when it's not attached to anything. Ash Archaic Sealed Heat is a tactical RPG which only released in Japan, and was made by a mix of Mistwalker, who also made The Last Story and the Terror Battle series, and Rakjin, who are mostly known for their work on the Snowball Kid series, along with several Bomberman games. Ash takes place in a fantasy world divided by 3 kingdoms, 2 of which are at war with each other, with a magical flame that was sealed away after it burned all to ash in the ancient times being released, causing havoc across the world in the forms of creatures called salamanders. Given this is another obscure Japan-only title, we once again have a game that only gets a spirit. That being spirit number 1227, Isia, a 2-slot novice primary shield spirit, the game's main protagonist and the princess of the Kingdom of Millennium, who after being the sole survivor of an attack on the kingdom during her coronation from a fire serpent, discovers she's able to bring back the dead by creating new bodies for their souls from the ash, leading her to set out to try and find a way to revive the population of Millennium. Make 10, A Journey of Numbers is a puzzle game made by Mumu, who seem to be most known for their work on the Jumping Flash games. The game effectively being a series of puzzles and mini-games which all revolve around making 10, ranging from deciding if the numbers being held add up to 10, to adding and removing numbered tiles to make them add up to 10. As this is a fairly simple puzzle game, this is once more a game whose only piece of representation is a spirit, this time being spirit number 1228, Numdiddly, a 1-slot novice support spirit with the effect Transformation Duration Up. One of the pixies from the Make 10 Kingdom who acts as the player's guide, wanting their help to know if the pixies make 10 or not. Soma Bringer is a Japan-exclusive action RPG made by Monolith Soft, the studio responsible for the Xenoblade Chronicles series, with this being the first game the studio made after they were bought by Nintendo. The game takes place on the continent of Barnea, following a military group called Farzuth Division 7, who are battling against monsters called Visitors after their arrival causes a disruption to the balance of Soma, the world's principal magical energy. Despite being another relatively unknown Japan-only title, there's actually a decent amount of stuff from Soma Bringer, most likely due to its connection to Monolith Soft. First, we have a music track with Attack, one of the game's battle themes. Then there's two spirits. Number 1229, Idia, a 1-slot novice support spirit with the effect PSI Resist Up. An amnesiac girl who's found in a pod by Farzuf Division 7 during their first mission, with her then being enlisted to join the group when they find out she has latent and powerful abilities related to Soma. And number 1230, Welt, a 3-slot advanced primary neutral spirit, a new member of Farzuf and the game's main protagonist, who despite his young age managed to get into Division 7 thanks to his enthusiasm. Fossil Fighters is an RPG made by a mix of Nintendo and Red Entertainment, the studio behind the previously discussed Project Hacker Kakusei. The game's revolving around digging up fossils in order to revive them as dinosaurs with supernatural powers called Vivosaurs, which can then be used to battle other people's Vivosaurs. The game did well enough to get 2 sequels, with Fossil Fighters Champions also on the DS, as well as Fossil Fighters Frontier for the 3DS, the latter of which saw Nintendo hand over development duties to Spike Chunsoft, the studio responsible for the first 5 Dragon Quest games, the Mystery Dungeon series, and the Danganronpa series. As this is a somewhat popular RPG series, there's a decent amount of content from these games. To begin, we have a music track with the main battle theme from Fossil Fighters Frontier. In addition, there's 2 spirits. Number 1231, T-Rex, a slotless advanced primary attack spirit with the effect Wait Up. A fire element Vivosaur that appears in all 3 games, with it being one of the most powerful all-attack class Vivosaurs at the cost of severely hindering allies' abilities whilst in support. And number 1232, Nibbles, a 1-slot novice primary attack spirit, a Vivosaur who becomes the partner of Frontier's main protagonist after the two end up saving each other from a rogue Gorgo, effectively becoming the main Vivosaur for the rest of the game. Style Savvy, or Nintendo Presents Style Boutique in Power Regions, is a series of fashion games made by Sin Sophia, who are mainly known for their work on various pro wrestling games and the Def Jam series. The games having you work in a fashion store and recommend clothing to clients based on the kind of outfit they want. In addition to the original game on DS, there were 3 sequels on the 3DS, named Style Savvy Trendsetters, Fashion Forward, and Styling Star, or Nintendo Presents New Style Boutique 1 through 3 in Power Regions. As these games were fairly popular with casual audiences, there's a good amount of content from this series. To start, we have 3 music tracks, with a Smash 4 remix of the opening, Good Outfit Result, and title screen music from Style Savvy Trendsetters. music for pop-themed fashion shows in Style Savvy trendsetters. And Ring-a-Ding, a J-pop song from Style Savvy Styling Star.
Everybody ring dong da, 마요아주 짱짱 up. 눈에 너 헛거리 가사시대. Hey.
On top of that is spirit number 1236, Shop Assistant, a one-slot advanced support spirit which lets you start the battle with a super launch star. This being a general representation of the game's player character, the art specifically being the girl who appears across the series on the Japanese box arts, where the games are called Girls Mode. Tomodachi Collection is a Japan-exclusive life simulation title which focuses on creating Miis, putting them on an island, and then just seeing what they get up to, with the player being able to give them food, clothing, items, and play mini-games with them, with the Miis eventually building friendships with each other, with it even being possible to see them eventually fall in love. Whilst the first game is somewhat obscure, its sequel, Tomodachi Life, which unlike Collection saw a full international release, ended up becoming one of the most popular games on the 3DS, managing to sell 6.72 million copies, making it the 11th best-selling 3DS game. As Tomodachi is arguably Nintendo's most popular life sim series after Animal Crossing, there's a decent amount of content, albeit with most of the focus being on the more popular 3DS sequel. To begin, we have the stage Tomodachi Life, this being the apartment complex that the Miis live in, with it specifically being modeled after the first design of the apartments in Tomodachi Life. Fighters are able to battle on the roof and inside the apartments, with Smash randomly generating 6 rooms which house Miis off of the Switch system who will be wearing clothes, with all the outfits and room designs being taken directly from Tomodachi Life. On top of that, it's possible to see a neighbouring island in the background, which houses an amusement park, a regular park, a photo studio, a cafe, as well as a newscasting station. Then we have 2 music tracks, with 2 versions of a song which combines the daytime themes from both Tomodachi Collection and Tomodachi Life, with a Smash 4 remix, Art Academy is a series of art training games made by Headstrong Games, whose only other notable work seems to be the Battalion Wars games as part of the greater Nintendo Wars series. The series started as two DSiWare games named Art Academy First and Second Semester, which were then combined into an expanded physical release titled Art Academy, which would teach the player the ins and outs of painting various objects using the DS's touchscreen. The game would receive a 3DS sequel titled Art Academy Lessons for Everyone, or New Art Academy in Power Regions, as well as another game on the Wii U with Art Academy Sketchpad, which later got an expanded version called Art Academy Home Studio or Art Academy Atelier in Power Regions, with the 3DS also getting two side games, one teaching you how to draw Pokemon and another for drawing Disney characters. Since Art Academy is another fairly popular casual series, there's a good amount of content from these games. First, we have the theme for the 9th lesson from the original Art Academy, which teaches you to paint a swan. Next is the assist trophy, Vince, an art tutor who acts as the player's teacher throughout the series. When summoned, he will cover the other fighters with paintings of statues, tomatoes, seashells, cats, or birds, with painted fighters taking small amounts of constant damage, along with opponents' attacks doing 3 times the usual amount of damage. In addition, Vince also appears as a Mii sword fighter costume, with the sword being Vince's paintbrush. Finally, there's spirit number 1237, Vince, a 1-slot advanced support spirit with the effect battering items up. The spirit art is from Art Academy Lessons for Everyone, which was the first game to make Vince a 3D model instead of a 2D illustration. Tsukutte Utau Saru Band is a rhythm game made by Mumu, the same studio behind the previously discussed Make 10 A Journey of Numbers, which only released in Japan as a DSiWare title. The game has you create music by giving a band of monkeys a theme or motif for a song as well as the lyrics, with you then being able to listen to the band play it, with there being 403 songs they can play, with 23 bass songs which have a combined total of 380 additional variations based on things like the pitch or tone. As this game is just a fairly simple music creation tool, along with being a Japan exclusive digital only title, there's not much from this series. The only thing taken is spirit number 1239, Prince Saruno, a 1-slot novice support spirit with the effect Aura Resist Up, the prince of the Sarudamon Kingdom who acts as the monkey band's lead. Looksley's lineup, or Tales in a Box Hidden Shapes in Perspective in Power Regions, is a DSiWare puzzle game made by Goodfeel, the same studio behind Kirby's Epic Yarn and Yoshi's Woolly World, which sees you move around small dioramas in order to find hidden letters and objects within them, with the game picking up how the player is moving it via the DSi's camera. As this is another fairly simple puzzle game, this is another series which just gets a spirit. That being spirit number 1238, Looksley, a 1-slot novice support spirit with the effect Magic Resist Up, a rabbit who asks for the player's help to find the hidden objects and letters, in the hopes it will help him get inspiration for the book he's writing. Nintendoji is a turn-based dungeon crawler game made by Grounding Inc., who have also made games like Sakura Samurai, Art of the Sword, and Space Channel 5 VR, with Nintendoji having released as a DSiWare title, which was only made available to Japanese Club Nintendo members as a Gold and Platinum member prize. The game focuses around exploring dungeons using seals to determine how many spaces you move during a turn, or if you have enough magic, various special seals, in order to activate all the crystal balls and get to the end of the floor without running out of seals. Given this is probably the most obscure game we're talking about today, as it was a Japan exclusive game that was only released via a defunct membership reward program, there's not much from Nintendoji. The only thing taken is spirit number 1274 Kageshina Kurabe, a 3-slot novice primary neutral spirit. The main protagonist of Nintendoji, who is exploring the dungeons to recover holy relics that were stolen from his village, which caused his country to fall on the brink of collapse, with all the treasures being items from other Nintendo games. And with that, we've looked at all of the minor series which originated on the DS. For the overall rankings of representation, Another Code, Project Hacker Kakusei, Hotel Dusk Room 215, Kurikin Nano Island Story, Sujin Taisen Number Battles, Slide Adventure MAGKID, Ash Archaic Sealed Heat, Make 10 A Journey of Numbers, Tsukutte Utau Saru Band, Looksley's Lineup, and Nintendoji are tied 153rd with 54 other series. PictoChat, Big Brain Academy, Osu Tatakae Ouendan, Elite Beat Agents, Shaberu DS Oreo Navi, and Chōsōjū Mecha MG are tied 109th with 38 other series. Jam with the Band, Soma Bringer, Fossil Fighters, and Tomodachi are tied 88th with 17 other series. Electroplankton and Style Savvy are tied 73rd with 13 other series. Brain Age and Art Academy are tied 62nd with Art of Fighting, Dylan's Rolling Western, Famicom Mukasha Banashi, Metal Slug, Nintendo Badge Arcade, No More Heroes, Panel de Pon, Shantae, and the Robot series. And Nintendogs is tied 45th with Ice Climber, putting it above series like Tetris and the Light Gun series, but below Pilot Wings and Wii Sports, in turn making it the 8th most represented series without a playable character. For the next video, we'll be looking at all the content in Smash to come from Square Enix. In the meantime, I'll be holding the last poll for a Nintendo-focused video, the options being either a video about all the content from Fire Emblem, or a video on all the content from both Pikmin and Animal Crossing. Until then, subscribe if you want to keep up with what's going on with the channel, and thanks for watching.